Today, we're diving into a mystery that's been hiding in plain sight for over 1,400 years. It's a place where an ancient text seems to collide with modern astrophysics. We're on the hunt for a cosmic fingerprint, one that might just change how you see everything. Let's get into it. So, let me just pose this question to you right at the start. What if a book written in the 7th century, long before we knew what atoms were, before the periodic table was even a dream, what if that book contained the exact atomic signature of iron? It sounds, well, impossible, right? But that's the incredible claim we're going to unpack together today. Our whole investigation kicks off right here. This is a verse from the Quran's 57th chapter, which is literally titled The Iron. Now, on the surface, it reads like a pretty straightforward statement, but the clue, the key that unlocks this entire puzzle is hiding in just one very strange choice of words. That word is anzalna. It means we sent down. Now, what's so weird about that? Well, in the Quran, this verb is almost exclusively used for things that come from the heavens, like divine revelation or rain falling from the sky. It's not the word you'd use for a metal you have to dig up from deep within the ground. For centuries, it was just this odd linguistic quirk. And you can really see how unusual it is when you put it side by side with other words. The Quran has perfectly good verbs for creation, like khalaqa for just general creating, or ja'ala for making things right here on earth. But nope, neither of those is used for iron. Iron gets this special treatment, this one specific verb, anzala, sent down. And that little detail is the first breadcrumb on this incredible trip. And here, right here, is where modern science crashes into the story. Because that strange word choice, suddenly it snaps into perfect, crystal clear focus. We now know, as a scientific fact, that iron is not from Earth. It can't be. Every single atom of iron on this planet was forged in the heart of a giant dying star that exploded in a supernova. It really all comes down to temperature. I mean, our own sun is incredibly hot. Its core is about 15 million degrees Celsius. But that's actually way too cool to create iron. To do that, you need the insane furnace of a supernova, which can reach 3 billion degrees. Only in that kind of cosmic explosion is iron forged and then literally blasted across the universe, eventually seeding new planets like ours. So the phrase sent down from an astrophysical point of view is hauntingly accurate. But the word choice, as amazing as it is just the first layer. The claim goes much deeper. It argues that this text doesn't just describe where iron came from, it actually encodes its atomic identity, using what can only be described as a series of mathematical locks. Okay, lock number 1. This is just a direct, straight-up match. The chapter we're talking about, the iron, is chapter number 57. And guess what the most common, most stable isotope of iron is? Yep, iron 57. It's a perfect one-to-one match. Now for the second lock. This one uses an ancient system called gematria, where letters also have numerical values. If you take the Arabic word for iron, hadid, and you add up the values of its letters, you get a very specific number, 26. And what's the atomic number of iron on the periodic table? It's 26. Another direct hit. And the math itself is super simple. The 4 letters of hadid are ha, dal, ya, and dal. Their values are 8, 4, 10, and 4. You add them up, and you get 26. It's a precise match for iron's atomic number. The third and final lock takes us right back to the original verse. Now, officially, it's labeled as verse 25. But every chapter in the Quran starts with an unnumbered opening line, the Bismillah. So if you actually count from the very beginning of the chapter, the verse that talks about iron being sent down is the 26th passage. There's that number again, 26. And there's this other fascinating layer to it all. The Quran has 114 chapters. Chapter 57, the iron, sits right at the book's mathematical center. And that creates this beautiful, striking parallel. The structural center of the book is iron, just like the physical center of our planet is its molten iron core. Okay, let's pump the brakes for a second because we have to address the most obvious logical objection here. A skeptic would rightly say, whoa, hold on. This is a textbook case of confirmation bias. You've got a huge book with tons of numbers. Of course you're going to find coincidences if you look for them. You're just cherry picking. And you know what? That's a totally fair and critical point that needs to be answered. So, is it all just one big coincidence? Well, the people who believe this is real don't respond with faith. They respond with math. They ask a simple question. What are the actual statistical odds of all three of these locks lining up perfectly just by pure chance? The answer they come up with is about 1 in 330,600. I mean, that is a staggering number, a number that really starts to stretch the definition of simple coincidence. So how on earth do you get a number like that? Well, you get it by multiplying the probability of each event happening independently. So the chance of the chapter number randomly being 57 is 1 out of 114 chapters. The chance of the gematria of Hadid just happening to add up to 26 is conservatively about 1 in 100. And the chance of the verse being in the 26th position in that chapter is 1 in 29. You multiply those odds together and bam, 1 in 330,600. And this brings us full circle, right back to that first clue. Because even if you're a skeptic about the math, you still have to explain the language. You have to explain how, out of all the possible words for creation, the author just happened to pick the one verb, sent down, that perfectly describes our 20th century discovery of where iron actually comes from. Probability has a really hard time explaining that. So the argument here is that this isn't just a few lucky hits. It's presented as a tightly woven system. The chapter number, the word's value, the verse's position, and that unique, scientifically accurate verb, they all interlock. They all point to the same thing. The claim is that what we're looking at isn't an accident, it's architecture. And that leads to this final, really profound conclusion. We're left with two pretty mind-blowing possibilities. Either the author of this text back in the 7th century knew things about chemistry and astrophysics that humanity wouldn't discover for another 1,300 years, or the source of this information wasn't from this world at all. And that's where we have to leave it, for you to think about. Is this a series of jaw-dropping coincidences, or is it a meticulously designed code hidden deep inside an ancient text? Architecture or accident? You decide.